All right, good evening everyone. So this is environment session weekly current affairs part of this week, and let's cover the important topics from mains and prelims perspective. Now let's first of all I will give you brief idea about which topics are important, especially for this, let's say last, just a moment. Okay. Yes. So first topic that we are going to cover is related to renewable energy. Now this particular topic related to renewable energy almost every year in mains examination, either in GS1 or GS3 paper from environment and we can say economy perspective, they will ask this question, and we have to mention some important, we can say that, data related to present day install capacity of renewable energy. Lastly, they will ask specific topics also related to solar energy. So here we will focus more on solar energy, the expansion, the decade of expansion. This was PIB article, very good article. So every year you have to, let's say, be updated related to that data. What kind of government initiatives are related to this particular, we can say that, renewable energy, especially solar and wind energy. Then we can talk about is that at national government initiative at national and international level. Okay, this is the way question has been framed in the past. So international level, both aspects we have to cover, right? So in this particular article or topic, we will cover everything about the solar energy in India as well as the international initiatives taken by India. Now, why it was in news recently, we have to also understand that Government of India has recently approved one government scheme, that is Prime Minister Surya Sarovar Yojana. Okay, Sarovar Yojana. Now, Surya means something related to, we can say, solar energy. Sarovar means something related to lake. So basically, this scheme is, we can say that on 30th of July, this was approved on 30th of July 2026, you should remember. And as it is talking about lakes, something related to floating solar photovoltaics. Okay, so floating solar photovoltaics, इसका short form ऐसे लिखा जाता है FSPV. Now it is a huge potential in India. It has a huge potential. You should understand that all the reservoirs that we have in India or the lakes that we have in India. So if we have that floating solar photovoltaics, it has so many benefits. In India, we have around 102 gigawatt of, we can say that, potential of this particular, we can say, floating solar photovoltaics alone. And that's why the government is going to harness this potential we want to achieve. Now, what are the benefits of having floating solar photovoltaics? Simply, we can say that the area that we are having as a land, it is limited, and we can say that most of the land that is under agriculture. So we can say that there are limitations in terms of having extensive solar power plants in terms of area. So now the area of that lakes or reservoirs can be used here when and it is unused, right? And second thing is that because of solar, we can say, rays or radiation, there is evaporation that is happening. So the water conservation aspect is also involved here. So water is conserved as well as the energy is captured. So both benefits are there. Along with that, it is going to create lot of, we can say that, in terms of employment generation is also there. Employment generation is there. Then we can say grid stability, because it is going to provide energy storage systems also, right? So grid stability will be also there. And in general, we can say that it will reduce the overall CO2 emissions, right? It will reduce the overall CO2 emissions and help us to achieve the net zero target, and we can say the commitments that we have to Paris Agreement. So this is the way we can talk about the initiative that Government of India has started. Now overall solar energy, we can talk about that. 10 years of unprecedented growth that we are having, fastest growing. So India has emerged as one of the fastest growing solar power markets. It is second largest, we can say, in terms of growth. Then solar energy has become the backbone of India's clean energy transition. Now we at present, in terms of installed capacity, fourth in world in terms of solar energy. Okay, so that fact you can mention in terms of that, right? We will talk about the detailed data about this. Progress supports India's commitments of this one, 500 gigawatt from non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030, net zero by, we can say, 2070. So all these are part of India's Panchamrit, right? Panchamrit, and we can say that part of NDCs to Paris Agreement. Okay, nationally determined contributions to Paris Agreement. So this is the way we should talk about this solar energy. Now let's go in detail and talk about certain data in terms of solar energy. Yes, in 2014 it was 2.8 gigawatt. Now we have increased to around 57 fold increase has happened, and this has reached to 162 gigawatt by, we can say that, July 2026. Okay, so latest data from PIB, we should be taking latest data in answer, right? And income in terms of total renewable energy, if we talk about total renewable energy, right? So installed capacity has now reached to 51.5%. Okay, so this is very positive thing that is happening in India. Being a developing country, we are basically moving towards more and more greener and cleaner sources of fuels. We are setting example to the world, right? Solar has become largest contributor to India's renewable energy growth. Now, what are the major achievements? Yes, in detail we will see, but we'll list them. Solar power parks developed across multiple states. You can give some examples, recent examples of Bhadla. Okay, so Badla power plant kahan par hai ye? Along the border with Pakistan in Rajasthan. Okay, so it is there in Thar desert. So extensive, very large solar power plant. Then we can talk about is Rewa in Madhya Pradesh. Rewa in Madhya Pradesh is there. Then we can say Pavagadh in Karnataka. So these are the examples of, we can say, mega solar power plants, right? Then we can say utility scale solar power plant, rooftop solar is there, floating solar plant, the way the new government scheme has been launched, hybrid renewable projects, especially solar and wind, solar plus wind, hybrid power plants are also there, right? Solar tariffs among the lowest in the world in India. So these are, we can say that, some of the aspects related to policy achievements or major achievements. Now let's talk in detail about what are the policy reforms that are driving solar growth in India. First of all, the government initiatives. Yes, so National Solar Mission. National Solar Mission is one of the 8 NAPCCs. Okay, National Action Plan for Climate Change. 8 missions under NAPCCs which are focusing on climate actions and, we can say, sustainable development. So it provides the overall framework for solar energy generation in India. Second is PM Kusum scheme. Here agriculture sector and the farmers welfare is also ensured. Additional benefits in terms of income for the farmers is there, and the overall, let's say, input cost for irrigation is being reduced. At the same time, the energy consumption for irrigation is also being reduced. PM Kusum scheme. Then Prime Minister Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. In detail, we will see that in 2024 it was launched, and it is the largest rooftop solar power project in the world. Then solar park scheme is there. We have given the examples. So in different states, solar parks are being set up. Rooftop solar program is now merged with this one. Then we can talk about Green Energy Corridor. Green Energy Corridor is going to have seamless transmission for all these renewable energy projects, especially solar energy projects, because we know that solar parks are far away from the areas, especially urban and industrialized areas, which require that power. So that's why the transmission, which is very important part of overall national grid, so that focus is there in, we can say that, Green Energy Corridor. Renewable purchase obligations, especially for the DISCOMs. So these, we can say that, renewable energy purchase or obligations is very important. Why? Because they are the binding obligations to purchase certain amount of renewable energy in their overall overall energy purchase. So then approved list of models and manufacturers. So this is going to provide the quality aspect. So quality assurances are provided. Okay, quality assurances for photovoltaics, solar cells and photovoltaics, we can say that. Especially here the list of manufacturers are also given, and only those certified manufacturers are also providing, we can say that, supply of all these, let's say, equipments and solar photovoltaics for government projects. Then basic custom duty on imports. So this is going to provide Atmanirbharta. So imports become costly. So domestic production happens. Further, to boost the domestic production, we have production link incentive schemes for solar photovoltaics. So ultimately, these let's say initiatives are trying to achieve the policy objectives of affordable clean energy, domestic manufacturing, import substitution, basic custom duty, energy access, and climate commitment. So these are the policy goals, we can say that. Now, building the strong foundations for solar expansion, this basically focuses on the reforms in different sectors. Transmission infrastructure, green energy corridor, just now we talked about that. Then dedicated evacuation infrastructure is also there. Market reforms, competitive bidding for these projects, and we can say that those solar photovoltaics, transparent solar auctions is there, and open access reforms. Then we can say that grid integration is also being happening in energy storage systems, battery energy, then pumped hydro energy. This was asked in prelims examination 2025. Okay, pumped hydropower project, battery energy storage. So that's why I'm telling you it is important. Then smart grids and forecasting and digital platforms. So yes, online approvals, monitoring, and faster subsidy dispersal, especially under PM Surya Ghar Yojana. So basically here the focus is on the reforms and governance that is basically facilitating that fast growth in the solar energy sector. Then we can talk about is related to manufacturing. What are the support mechanisms? We talked about this. Production linked incentive scheme is there. Then we can talk about the framework for manufacturers and models. We can say that there is a list created for the standard manufacturers and the models. Basic custom duty on imports is there. Domestic content requirements in selected schemes. So what are the equipments? Solar modules are there, solar cells, wafers, especially photovoltaics, then inverters, ancillary components. So all these manufacturing, for that we have total production linked incentive schemes. So expected outcomes, what are these? Reduced import dependence will be there, employment generation, investment mobilization, strong domestic value chain, and export competitiveness also generated over the period of time. So this is the way we should talk. Then lastly, these two important schemes that bringing solar energy to the households and the farmers. So PM Surya Ghar Yojana was launched in 2024 by keeping in mind that rooftop solar for 1 crore households, this is the target, financial assistance and concessional loans, lower the electricity bills, so it will result into savings, and we can say that the overall energy consumption from the fossil fuels generated electricity, consumer to producer. Okay? So this is the way we should talk about this scheme. PM Kusum scheme is there, right? So here Prime Minister Krishi Utthan Evam, we can say that Krishi Urja and Uttham Mahayojana. So this particular scheme is focusing on agriculture sector and solarization of agriculture or irrigation pumps, solar pumps, solarization of agriculture, decentralized renewable energy. So additional income is generated through, we can say that, power production, solar power production that is sold, and the farmers are getting additional income here. Okay, so benefits, of course, the energy access is there, and that too we can say reliable. Okay, reliable, quality. Then we can talk about reduced diesel dependence, especially for solar pumps, farmers were dependent. Farmers empowerment through income generation, rural livelihood enhancement, because it will generate the employment also, because solar mitras are part of, we can say, Kusum scheme, solar mitras. So they are trained, they will provide the services to the farmers, sustainable agriculture, because irrigation, yes, irrigation is important aspect, that's why sustainable. So this is the way renewable energy, and in that solar energy is focused almost every year. There will be question in mains examination, in prelim, also in prelims we can say. GS1 in mains examination, geography, GS3 part, environment, and we can say that economy part. Now next topic was in news, it is related to Asiatic lion and their conservation, the success story and the concerns. Let's talk about that now. Yes, Asiatic lion in India. We'll talk about the species also, because that can be asked in prelims, but species based conservation aspect for tigers, lions, elephants, and rhinoceros, that becomes important for our mains examination also. We are expecting question. Now the latest, we can say that in 2025, latest we can say that census, after every 5 years the census is carried out for Asiatic lions, 891 Asiatic lions. So this is very important success story. and lions expanding beyond Gir forest. So Gir is the let's say area where we have in Gujarat, Kathiawad Peninsula, right? Kathiawad Gir forest that is there. So it is, we can say that largely the shrub and grassland forest, open grassland we can say that. So that is habitat for these Asiatic lion. Now the lions are also finding second home in Barda Wildlife Sanctuary in that nearby region. Barda Wildlife Sanctuary, Porbandar district, again same Kathiawad Peninsula. So now there are some issues also, right? So success story raises the fresh concerns like habitat carrying capacity, human lion conflict is also there, genetic security because there is problem of inbreeding, and then need for second wild population of lions to protect them. So this is the way we should talk. Now in prelims we can expect question related to IUCN status and habitat and all. So scientific name is Panthera leo persica, then it is also called Indian lion or Persian lion. Yes, distribution endemic wild population only to Gujarat. So Gir forest is there, and recently Barda Wildlife Sanctuary. Gir National Park we have, and Barda Wildlife Sanctuary we have. So yes, it has been also, let's say, proposed that the new population can be there by translocation to Kuno National Park where cheetahs are also there, right? So Supreme Court has also advised that habitat, dry deciduous forest, thorn scrub, savanna grasslands and riverine forest. So this is the, let's say, we can say habitat of overall lions around the world. Then IUCN status in India, vulnerable, okay, Asiatic lions, Appendix 1 of CITES Convention on Trade in endangered species, Wildlife Protection Act Schedule 1, that means highest level of protection is given. So this is the way we should understand. Now what are the, let's say, threats? Yes, or before that we will talk about the comparison between Asiatic lions and African lion. This is the, let's say, expected question, pending question in prelims examination. Asiatic lions, they are found in India only in Gujarat, okay, and then if you talk about African lion, sub-Saharan Africa, especially south of equatorial region. Then slightly smaller, this is, we can say that comparatively larger. Mane, this is the mane, we can say that, of lion. Okay, this mane is less full and dark. Mane is fuller and bushy and extend to chest and belly. You can see here, it is more, we can say that, thicker. Then ear tufts are visible here. Okay, more visible. Ear tufts are let's say not visible especially. Then longer and with black tuft, tail tuft we are talking here. Tail tuft is longer with black tuft and shorter with black tuft. Here skin fold, this is the unique, we can say, feature of Asiatic lions. Prominent longitudinal skin fold which is absent in African lions. Then skull, narrow skull with distinct sagittal crest, broader skull. नैरो स्कल यहाँ पे होता है, ब्रॉडर स्कल होता है. हैबिटेट ड्राई डेसिडुअस फॉरेस्ट, savanna grasslands. Okay, and this IUCN status is vulnerable. And then we can say that this social status, smaller pride with 2 to 5 adult females, here larger prides with 15 plus members. So this is the difference between, we can say that, Asiatic lions and African lions. Okay, now in India, the story of, we can say that, growth, you can say recovery, up to only 20 population in last century. Now it has increased. Look at the way it has increased last 10 years especially. Okay, it has doubled. Then historical distribution once across West Asia, Iran, Iraq and northern India completely. Near extinction. What are the threats? Okay, threats you should know: hunting, habitat destruction, royal game hunting, and there are concerns related to endemism, right? So highly endemic to that region only. So that's why there are concerns of inbreeding and all these things, right? Factors behind the recovery. इतना ज़्यादा population कैसे बढ़ गया है? Strong legal protection is there, community participation, habitat management, veterinary support, scientific monitoring, and political commitment. So here we should know that Project Lion is implemented in India, launched in 2020. Okay, Project Lion. For 10 years it will be implemented, and all these things are part of this Project Lion only. We can say community participation, veterinary support and habitat management and restoration. Okay, so habitat restoration. This is the way we should talk about Project Lion 2020. Okay, and finally we can talk about the major conservation challenges that we are facing here in terms of lions. Single population risk. This is the problem. because if it is wiped out because of any reason, they are vulnerable to epidemics and diseases, especially we can say that canine distemper virus. Okay, so it happens and then it spreads like anything among all those canine animals. Then cyclones and droughts, forest fires, natural disasters, any of this, if any cyclone is impacting that region, so all population may be wiped out because of that. So that's why we should understand that it is the vulnerable, high risk is there. Then genetic bottlenecks, low genetic diversity, inbreeding depression happens, reduced adaptive capacity to diseases. Because of inbreeding, the genetic quality is, we can say that, poor. That's why new population, new area should be developed, and it will result into, we can say, wider genetic variations, and that is going to be, let's say, adapting to the environmental changes. Major threats, I told you just now, CDB is there, babesiosis, tick-borne diseases, and other emerging infections. Now, this is one more emerging problem, human-wildlife conflict. Recently, you may have seen the videos wherein the lions entering into human habitations and attacking human, right? So that's why it is becoming problem. Livestock predation is also there, human injuries and fear, retaliatory actions by the villagers. Then habitat saturation and fragmentation. So habitat, very small habitat is there, and expansion into villages and, we can say, farms, territorial conflicts among the lions also happens. And because of that, we can say there is concern related to future of that population. All right, now you have understood. Now what should be answer to this question? Yes, in the comment box you can mention the answer, online students. Right, so what this question is talking here, you can see first statement about this Asiatic lion, only wild population available found outside Africa. Yes, we can say that this is correct. Then it is listed as endangered under IUCN red list. It is not endangered, just now we said that it is vulnerable. Okay, IUCN status is vulnerable. Then a prominent longitudinal fold of the skin along the belly is one of the distinguishing feature which is absent in, we can say, African lions. This is correct. It is included in appendix 1 of CITES. This is also correct. So we can say only 3, that is C is the correct answer for this question. So problem with only 1, only 2, only 3, all 4 is that we don't have elimination technique working in these type of questions. So we should be very careful. Fine. Next topic is again species based. The government of India has launched clouded leopard conservation action plan. Clouded leopard मतलब जो है कहाँ पे मिलता है, तो yes, in northeast India. It should be very clear. Clouded leopard national park is also there separately in Tripura and Mizoram, that region. Okay, so clouded leopards. India has launched this clouded leopard conservation action plan on International Clouded Leopard Day, 4th of August. Okay, India's first such national conservation program for clouded leopards focus long-term conservation across northeast India, its habitat. Okay, now it is prepared under Government of India and we can say that UNDP initiative. Okay, so here GEF is, we can say that, the Global Environment Facility for funding purpose. Now about this particular species, it is arboreal cat species, wild cat, arboreal, that is living on the tree branches, but it is part of, we can say, family member of Panthera. We can say that so we can say it is, we can say it is part of what we can say Panthera, that is leopard family. Okay, part of leopard family. Distribution in India, northeast India, Sikkim and North Bengal, Darjeeling region. Largely we can say northeast India is there. Especially which states? Mizoram, largely so Mizoram, and we can say Meghalaya. Right, this particular, let's say, habitat is there. Habitat tropical and subtropical evergreen forest, dense mountain forest and highly dependent on forest connectivity. So that's why any kind of fragmentation of that is going to create problem. Now conservation status, vulnerable, IUCN status, CITES appendix 1, and again we can say that schedule 1, similar to all Asiatic lion, right? Now clouded leopard, what are the unique characteristics and major threats? So these 4 things that we focus, right? Habitat, then IUCN conservation status, what are the unique characteristics and major threats. Yes, it is cloud-shaped body markings. You can see on the body part, cloud-shaped body markings are there. Excellent tree climber because it is arboreal. Long tail helps in balancing because they have to jump from the tree branches. Strong canine teeth relative to body size. Solitary है, elusive है, mostly nocturnal predator है. So apart from lions, most of the big cats or all these canine animals are solitary in nature. Then we can say major threats: habitat fragmentation, forest deforestation, illegal wildlife trade, especially for skin, they are poached, declining prey base is also concern, and climate change impact. So because of that, the population is facing threat. Now under this conservation action plan, what are the steps being taken? So key objectives: habitat protection is there, restoring ecological corridors and prey base, and scientific monitoring. You need not to remember the details of all these things. Simply we can say scientific monitoring will involve camera trapping, and we can say genetic studies, environmental DNA, protection measures, anti-poaching operations, wildlife crime M stripes application that is there for tigers in India. ठीक है, तो इनके भी stripes जो होता है unique होता है, so M stripes application will be there. Now habitat management, landscape restoration, 14 priority conservation landscapes of North India, they will be focused, and corridor preservation. Now focus is also on community participation for Northeast India, local communities, awareness programs, and livelihood support. And institutional support is under, we can say, it is included under species recovery program at international level. So this is important. Then integrated development of wildlife habitat scheme is also there. Collaboration with state forest department is also there. So institutional framework will be like that, like this. Now what should be answer to this question? Yes. Yes, online students, you can also tell. So clouded leopard in India, yes, it is listed as vulnerable in IUCN Red. This is correct. It is included in Schedule 1, highest protection. It is given. In India, it is mainly found in Western Ghats and Central India. No, it is not found in Western Ghats, right? It is found in Northeast India. Habitat. Arboreal wildcat, excellent climbing ability. This is correct. So 1, 2 and 4. So A is the correct answer for this question, right? So yes, this is the way practice should be done. And this is one more important topic for our, let's say, examination, especially for prelims examination, we can say that. Yes. What is that? Glow Lake becomes India's 101st Ramsar site. Where this Glow Lake is located? It is located in Arunachal Pradesh. Till the date, Arunachal Pradesh was not having any Ramsar site. We will talk about the Ramsar site and Ramsar convention also. But yes, in recent times, you can see that government of India has very much keen, we can say, in terms of wetland conservation, and ultimately wetland conservation has so many benefits also, significance also. That's why the focus is on wetland conservation and declaring them as wetlands of international importance under Ramsar Convention. Now this is 101st and first site under Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, Arunachal Pradesh में ये first site declare किया गया है, recognizing wetland of international importance under Ramsar Convention. Okay, so that's why this is in news. Let's go in detail and see the location and all aspects. Yes, about this location, situated in Arunachal Pradesh within Kamlang Tiger Reserve. Remember this also, Kamlang Tiger Reserve, eastern Himalayan landscape, which is also biodiversity hotspot. Now ecological features: high altitude freshwater lake is there, subtropical and temperate forests are there surrounding it, important source of fresh water and groundwater recharge, diverse aquatic and terrestrial ecosystem in the nearby area. Now what is the importance in terms of significance? Habitat for numerous endemic Himalayan flora and fauna. So biodiversity is there, right? Biodiversity hotspot, we can say that. Then acts as a climate regulator and carbon sink for the local area, supports tribal communities and their livelihood, traditional livelihood. So there in Arunachal Pradesh, their local communities are there, like, so all the hills that are there, Arbor or Monpas, Mishmi Hills, Dafla Hills in Arunachal Pradesh, they are, let's say, the local tribal communities, their livelihood is dependent on such lakes. That's why we can say that it is important. Now, Ramsar Convention. About Ramsar Convention, key facts: it was adopted on 2nd February 1971. That's why on 2nd February we celebrate World Wetland Day. It came in force in 1975. India also joined immediately in 1976. And yes, conservation and wise use. So there was question in mains examination, GS1 mains. Okay, what do you understand by wise use of wetlands? Wise use of wetlands is, we can say that here focus is on conservation as well as sustainable use. Okay, sustainable use of the resources that are derived from the wetlands. So this is the way wise use aspect of wetlands is there. Then three pillars: wise use of wetlands, designation for Ramsar sites, and international cooperation for transboundary wetlands. Secretariat, where it is located, Gland, Switzerland. And 2nd February celebrated as the World Wetland Day. Now the unique aspect about this is that Montrix record. Okay, Montrix record, it lists those Ramsar sites which are facing threat from human activities. Okay, and it will result into degradation of those wetlands in near future, that they are threatened. So once that site is included in Montrix record, then extra efforts are supposed to be taken by the government of that country to restore the biodiversity, restore the ecological nature of that particular wetland. Then it will be removed from that Montrix record. Like in India, Chilika Lake was included first in Montrix record, and now it has been removed after the conservation efforts by the government of India. So this is the way we should know. India now 101 wetlands as Ramsar sites, third largest number in the world after UK and Mexico. This is the way we should remember. Now what should be answer to this question? Okay, match the following. Glau Lake, the first Ramsar site of Arunachal Pradesh, this is correctly matched. Ramsar Convention entered into force in 1975, this is correctly matched. World Wetland Day celebrated on 2nd February, this is correct. Montrix record, list of all Ramsar sites designated by the country, no. Rather, Montrix record is the list of those Ramsar sites wherein they are facing threat due to human activities, and extra efforts, conservation measures are required. So here again only 3 is the correct answer, right? Yes. And the last topic, it is small topic but important one. It is related to, we can say, butterflies, and we can say the family of Lepidoptera. India's first, whenever we say India's first, it becomes important for prelims. Comprehensive catalog for Lepidoptera. This group of family includes butterflies, largely moths, we can say that. Zoological Survey of India has released this comprehensive catalog of Lepidoptera, first unified national reference to butterflies and moths after more than a century, and major milestone in terms of biodiversity documentation and conservation planning. It will be there. Now about this Lepidoptera, yes, they are butterflies and moths, we can say that. One of the largest insect order, name derived from lepis, that is scale, and pteron means wings. Characteristic features: wings covered with the microscopic colored scales. Ecological role, they are very important pollinators, we can say that. Then we can say food source for birds, reptiles and mammals, and indicator species for ecosystem health. We will talk about that in detail. Okay, so highlights of this catalog, it's not that important in detail. You need not remember number of species and all. Okay, so we can skip this particular part. Significance for India, scientific importance, especially it will be helpful for recognizing endemic and threatened taxonomic species, assist habitat restoration, conservation, prioritization, DNA based, let's say, identification, and eliminate duplication. So overall biodiversity conservation may help karega supporting assessment, biodiversity assessment. Okay, so in this manner policy making and conservation efforts, it will be helpful. Now role of Lepidoptera, those species in that family. First of all, pollination of wild and cultivated plants, pollination aspect, very important. Second, important prey for birds, bats, amphibians and reptiles. So as a food resource, it is important. Then bioindicators of climate change, habitat degradation and pollution. Okay, indicator species, and maintaining the stability through food web interaction. So ecosystem stability, these 4 functions of this particular, let's say, species of that family are important. Economic importance, like silk, Okay, so silk moths are there, and sericulture, right? So sericulture is related to silk farming, we can say that. So it is important economic activity, especially the states like Assam, sericulture. Right. So they are part of, these species are part of this family, valuable in ecological monitoring and scientific research also. So this is the way we should talk about this family. Now, lastly, we can also talk about the Zoological Survey of India as an institute, as well as we can say statutory body. Yes, established in 1916, headquartered in Kolkata, administration under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Okay, this is the logo, Zoological Survey of India, and you should know its functions: the faunal exploration across India, taxonomy and species identification, preparation of natural faunal intervention, biodiversity conservation research, maintaining national zoological collections, and new publication of animal discoveries in its annual catalog. So basically, we have a Botanical Survey of India, Zoological Survey of India for flora and fauna. So new species are discovered, they are basically published in the annual publications of these bodies, and they maintain that taxonomic catalog. That's why this particular body has released the for the first time this catalog of Lepidoptera. Okay, so these are the important topics from the environment section. If you have any question, you can ask in the comment box. Yes, students. So these sessions are very important and you should be following. Along with that, the optional subjects are going to start from the 17th of August. At Legacy IAS Academy, we have the optionals such as sociology, PSIR optional, anthropology and psychology. So most of the students are choosing for these optional subjects. So you can also choose, and you can receive the expert guidance by the experienced faculties. Along with that, the course structure, if you want to know more about that, the fee structure and all these things, you can reach out to Legacy IAS Academy. Okay, let us stop then. Thank you.